I'm Rana Sengupta. I'm associated with an organization known as Mine Labor Protection Campaign. It's based in Rajasthan, and we address the issue of the mine workers in specific, but the environmental issues related to mining in general also. As mining is the second largest employment sector in Rajasthan, it's giving a huge revenue to the state. At the same time, there's non-compliance of all other laws, for example, the labor law or the environmental laws. To quote you certain examples, like the city of Jodhpur itself has 7,000 quarries, and approximately some 2 lakh mine workers will be working there. But not a single mine worker has any kind of entity, neither have they got any proof of their employment. There is a regulation in terms of allocation of mining leases. There are records of mining leases given to mine owners, but there are no records of mine workers working in any of the mines. So if you see in the last 5 years, not a single case of not a single case has been filed under workmen's compensation. And in a recent issue which we had raised, that the prevalence of silicosis, so there were a huge number of workers who were affected from silicosis, and we had taken it up with the National Human Rights Commission. On the investigation, the Human Rights Commission asked the state to do an investigation and give the reports. The state replied that there was prevalence of silicosis, but they failed to really give a relationship between the employer and employee. So finally the state had to pay the compensation on behalf of the employer. Now they have come back, trying to make the rules more strong so that the employers comply with the working conditions and all the rights of secure the rights of the mine workers. I can also quote you a similar condition of asbestosis, which was banned in Rajasthan, in the country, and was also followed in Rajasthan. The moment it was banned, slowly all the mines, the mine owners went away. So it was in the record, in the closure record, it was clearly mentioned that the latency period is 15 years. So anybody can be deducted of asbestosis in the 15 years. So the mine owners went away, and after 15 years we found that people are dying. So there was a study done by the NIOH, National Institute of Occupational Health, which found that out of 126 workers, 93 were suspected asbestosis, but they didn't give us the names of those people who were suffering from asbestosis. So we took it up in the court, and again they have come back and assured for re-checkup. Re-checkup has been done, and they have promised to give us the report by 28th of this month, that is February 2012. So that will be the first official declaration of prevalence of asbestosis in the state. So my concern is, mining is definitely giving livelihood, but not a dignified livelihood. It is basically giving revenue for sure to the state, but otherwise it's creating a lot of problems, which is, if you compensate it, if you have to pay for the compensation for the damages, it is much more than the revenue that the state has earned. The traditional livelihood systems have been damaged. People can't go back. If you see the statistics of the women mine workers, 48% of the women mine workers in Jodhpur are widows. So there are villages where the widows outnumber the married women on the other girls in the villages. So it's a dangerous situation in the state, and actually the accountability is not there. The biggest gap in this system is the state government is allocating the mining leases, and the compliance of the labor standards is with the central government. So the mining department never informs the labor department that they have allocated some mine in some place. So the labor enforcement officer never comes to know. That is one part where there is no record of labor. So in proportion, the vigilance or the mechanism of enforcement is gone. So that's one area of the gap. The other area of gap is every mine is considered as a dangerous activity. So as per the rule, every mine owner takes a mining lease from the mining department, but before they start operation, they have to seek a consent from the DGMS, that is also from the Ministry of Employment. But they don't. It is at the discretion. It is the responsibility of the mine owner to inform the DGMS and seek that particular consent and get a training of a mining maid in the mine. That is the person who secures all the activity, who ensures all the activity, operations and safety of the mine. But they don't do it. So most of the mines which are operating have not sought any kind of consent from the DGMS, and they have been operating. So in most of the instances of accidents that has happened, the records are like of snake bites. And it's very recent, when after the Human Rights Commission's intervention, the DGMS has come to know that the number of mines as per their record is actually much more than what is there in the records, proportionately.
So all the people.
Yeah, so they are actually illegal if you see. And the problem is not with the mine owner, it is with the state, because they don't have a coordination between the allocating department and the enforcement department. So this is the gap which they are trying to eliminate and also rectify this.
Just one second. Do these mine owners have to take environmental clearance from the state or from the center? And does the environmental clearance, in the terms of reference, does it protect the laborer in any way?
Every mine is supposed to take consent to establish and operate from the State Pollution Control Board. They have been taking the consent to establish and then simultaneously the consent to operate. Without taking a consent to operate, they cannot take the renewal of the mine. So it's a mechanism, a computerized system in which you have to go to the State Pollution Control Board, seek that particular consent, then only you get a Ravana book or the royalty receipt from the mining department. This, I'll again quote the same example when Human Rights Commission came and said that why this particular silicosis problem or the asbestosis problem is there. If they have solved this particular thing, then on records they have found that the State Pollution Control Board never inspected these mines. They gave some excuses that they don't have equipments to do this, or they don't have electricity in the mine to inspect the pollution level. So these particular things have really led, and moreover, mine in Rajasthan has been taken as a commodity. So you can always take a mine and sell it and buy it and resell it. So you don't actually know what is the procedure. So that is a big gap in which the mine owner is not made liable. So on official record, somebody else is the mine owner and somebody else is operating the mine. So this is a big problem. And also, if a recent intervention in the court in which the government had acquired land and had given it to mine owners, some 1,000 mine owners, but each mine owner need not to take an environment clearance. But collectively, that land was, if you see, it met the particular norms of the area that they were covering had to take a clearance. So a case was filed in the court by a civil society person, and then there was a stay. There is a stay last year. So things are now actually being slowly exposed, and that accountability is again increasing. The state is trying to increase the accountability. The state has now allocated some 25 crores, 60 lakh rupees this year for the health of mine workers. They are putting up mobile health units, upgrading the hospitals in the mining areas. So it's very recent when actually the gaps in the systems are being exposed and measures are being taken to rectify that.
But what role does the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the Central Ministry, play in this whole fiasco?
Yeah, as per the Mines Act, if there is a medical practitioner which is required, but keeping in view the size of the mine, it is not viable. So the nearest hospital, if they come, the government hospital, if they come to know that there are such diseases or accidents, it is their responsibility to inform such things to the DGMS. But they failed. They also never knew that this is what is as per the notified disease issues. And now there is a medical board that has been formed. It is known as Rehab. It's a very recent one. There is a principal secretary mines in that committee. The principal secretary health is also there. So yeah, they're intervening.
Tom.
Hi, I'm Anupam. I work at Down.
I told you about him.
Yeah, so we visited Jodhpur recently. We were around the sandstone mines, like all these smaller villages, just in the outskirts.
Yeah, Sursagar, Kaliberi, and all this. Yes.
All these areas, and we met a lot of people and a lot of patients having symptoms of silicosis and with silicosis.
Silicotuberculosis.
Yeah. So what we noticed is that most of these mines, I mean, they do not despite having the tractors with like water tanks to check on the dust and everything, they don't use it. They say that because the rock cart and the things like to get that proper stone cut from the big slabs, if they use water over there, then the quality is not good. This is we interviewed a mine owner over there who told us these problems, that we cannot do so. So I just wanted to know what is like the government, I mean, you know, what's been so far the intervention from the government in this?
Actually, this is an answer which we have been hearing for the last 10-15 years. The problem is a mine owner a person can have not more than 2 mines.
Yeah.
Unofficially, he acquires a lot of mines and operates on behalf of somebody else. He or she doesn't want to expose it. Okay, so they will give up some excuse, some other reason. If you talk to the workers, those who are affected, as I said, that the widows in the women workforce, widows are more. Okay. They know that their husbands have died out of tuberculosis, TB. But it's only in the last year, after the intervention of MLPC and the National Human Rights Commission, it was found that it is silicosis. So it is preventable. It is not curable, but it is preventable. And the prevention is basically an awareness. You need to know that the active silica is the only thing which causes silicosis. It's not the sand, because sand is everywhere. It won't create silicosis. There are 2 points at which the silicosis is very prone. That is when you are chiseling, when you are close and doing the work on the stone, or else you are doing a dry drilling. So there, that particular entire area is covered, because
this is dry drilling.
Dry drilling, yeah. The wet drilling mechanism was proposed long back by DMRC, Desert Medicine Research Center, but only after this particular instance of silicosis being exposed. Now only you can see that the water tanks are there are helmets up there, and wet drilling is being promoted. It is not impossible, because the loss that it creates is much more than the money that they save by not installing the protective devices. So my experience over the last 10 years, it's only in the last 6 months that I've seen helmets, masks and wet drilling mechanisms being used, but it is hardly 5% or 10%. It needs to go. The only way is like telling the workers and the mine owners in a very simplified way. It is not an offense. It is nothing to do with any kind of police thing or policing. It is very simple. You can prevent it. So that awareness, if they are told, then they'll probably try to do it.
I also noticed many of these mines, they don't have you are supposed to have the boards and saying that how many workers are here. And
yes.
So
none of them have.
Issue of regularization also comes into the whole thing, and also I think what I noticed is that this year they have for all these unregulated workers, unorganized workers, the government actually was giving pension benefits, but they left the mine workers. That's what I was being told over there.
You are very right. As I said just now, that mining is a state subject, and all the enforcement is a central subject. So if the mining department has allotted a mine to you, okay, and the labor enforcement officer doesn't know that the mine has been allotted, he comes and inspects and he doesn't know which mine he is inspecting. So whom does he put a challan? Penalize it. So the power to cancel the mine is only with the DGMS, Director General Mine Safety, and with the mining department, because mines are being allotted by the mining department and it's a revenue to them, so they won't cancel it. And that's why in the last 50 years they have been operating without a signboard. This is the reason. So what we are proposing is, just as in the case of environment clearances, you need to get a consent from the State Pollution Control Board. Only then you get a Ravana book from your mining department. Similarly, you need to go and get the clearance from the State Labor Department. The Labor Department, whichever is related to it, and then you get a clearance. That's the only a simple initiative can solve all the problems, because it is the mine worker who wants protective measures and safety also, and it's the mine owner who has to give it. Because in this particular case which we had filed, the state had to pay on behalf of the mine owners, and now the state has taken strong actions against the mine owners so that they comply with the laws which are dictated.
Talking about cases, I spoke to Jodhpur-based lawyer also, who's been representing a lot of these people. Now his thing, the way the litigation or the way he would argue about these cases is like compensation mil jayega to ho jayega. That's the they say the PIL, we don't want to go and file PILs. So I wanted to understand how this litigation and like your case, you're talking about your case. So
मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ कि अगर उसको पाबंद कर दिया जाए माइन ओनर को कि आप अपने लेबर के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में जो भी आपको काम करना है वो आप लेबर डिपार्टमेंट से कंसेंट लेके ही काम करेंगे, तो जितने बेनिफिट्स हैं वो सारे उस वर्कर्स को मिलेगा इन टर्म्स ऑफ प्रिवेंटिव। जहाँ सोशल सिक्योरिटी मेजर्स की बात आती है, जैसे मैंने आपको कहा कि माइंस के अंदर जो लेबर है वो सेंट्रल सब्जेक्ट में आता है। अगर किसी कारखाने में कोई लेबर है तो वो सेंट्रल सब्जेक्ट के अंदर नहीं आता है। जब भी सरकार की कोई परियोजना बनती है वेलफेयर के लिए, पेंशन स्कीम है या इंश्योरेंस स्कीम है, वो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को देता है। स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का लेबर डिपार्टमेंट बाकी लेबर को देता है। द मोमेंट इट कम्स विद द स्टेट लेबर डिपार्टमेंट, वो पहले माइन वर्कर को बाहर निकाल देता है, क्योंकि वो उसकी पेरिफेरी में आता ही नहीं है। इसीलिए अगर आप देखें तो सारे बेनिफिट बाकी सारे लेबर को मिलते हैं, सिर्फ माइन वर्कर उसमें से डिप्राइव हो जाता है।